What's up guys, Koi51 here, time for another video, and we got a crap ton of Fire Emblem IF news just in the last few days, honestly, and I had to talk about it. I really, I've read some of it just to make sure if it's anything new, and yes, there's a few things new, and I'm going to be reading it out and explaining my thoughts along the way, so you guys can just relax and listen to what I'm going to say, because this is going to be a long video because there is a lot of information. I missed 3 articles worth, which is crazy to think that 3 articles worth of information is just getting dropped on this game. Makes sense, the game is coming out really soon in Japan, so I can definitely see why they want to drum up interest by releasing the information that is absolutely needed, because this game's release in Japan is a bit complicated. It's being released in 2 versions, black and white essentially. In Japan it's the Byakuya Kingdom and the ANYA Kingdom. If you guys know ANYA now, she was laughing when she heard the news. But anyway, I just wanted to just talk about a lot of things that really interested me, and pretty much just talk about the article itself. It pretty much explains a lot to do with the game content this time, so it's a lot of relevant information. A lot of information that really surprised me, because I think it's ridiculous. Anyway, here it is, the article straight from Silicon Nero themselves. Really, are they a company? Yeah, they're probably out there, a website. Links in the description below if you want to take a look yourself. Fire Emblem IF Black Kingdom will have more complicated victory requirements. Okay, so we kind of knew that yes, they were going to make both sides a little bit different in certain ways. So we previously reported details from Nintendo on the differences between the 2 versions of Fire Emblem IF. Project manager Masahiro Higuchi of Intelligent Systems and Nintendo producer Hitoshi Yamagami recently spoke with 4Gamer and touched upon some more differences between the 2. So let's see if that links to the article, the 4Gamer article. So while that's loading, I'm going to keep reading. During the interview, Higuchi explains how it's not just the story that is different between the 2 versions of Fire Emblem IF. According to Higuchi, the White Kingdom version was made more for fans that joined the series with Awakening, and those who are playing a Fire Emblem game for the first time. So that's good. Also, if you guys don't know, the White Kingdom version is the side of Hoshido, the translation for the West at this point, or known as I think it's Byakuya for that. And let's look at the 4 game. Okay, it's in Japanese, so never mind about that. Let's see. White Kingdom will indeed be easier, while Black Kingdom will have a much higher difficulty with limited money and experience points for leveling up your characters. Additionally, it will have more difficult conditions for clearing its stages. Defeating the enemy general or defeating all enemies are still the basic requirements, but it will also have other conditions such as suppress enemies, break through enemy lines, and defend your base. There will also be maps with limited turns. Ooh, this is interesting. So this is a really interesting piece of news. So this means, so we already knew that from interviews prior that the Hoshido, I'm going to talk about the translated versions for the West, it's a lot more easier to understand. The Hoshido version was going to be the easiest version out of the 3 paths that you could take in the game. The 3rd one being an unknown path at this time. But with the Nor path, we'd always heard that it's pretty much a story of taking down an empire from the inside. So we knew that they talked about it being a complex story when compared to Hoshido being a much more traditional Fire Emblem experience. So this just makes it so the difficulty is not through the game itself, it's through the victory conditions. So what the article is pretty much saying is that more objectives, unique objectives, are going to be placed in the Nor campaign to make it a lot more unique and a lot more challenging for returning veteran players. So that's pretty cool. I like that idea. I can't imagine, I can already imagine people just making it harder for themselves by playing on classic on that mode and just pulling their hair out. But that's Fire Emblem, you know, you gotta play it the way it was meant to be played, and that was to make you feel like you just feel for these characters, which is good. Let's see. 4Gamer points out that it sounds like it's not simply just the story that will be different between the 2 versions. This is a quote from Higuchi. Yes, of course, the story will be completely different, but there will also be major differences in the maps and the way the game is played, says Higuchi. The games are being made so that you feel satisfied by playing just one, but I believe that if you play both, you would be rather surprised at their differences. So this is the start of like where I had goosebumps essentially when I was reading it. He is saying he doesn't want the two games to feel like they need each other. He wants it to feel like each game is a complete game on its own. So essentially, what he's suggesting and what he's saying at this point, I don't know if he's suggesting, I think he's confirming it at this point, is that Fire Emblem IF in Japan, we don't have a title here in the West. Actually, I'll be okay with Fire Emblem IF at this point. I think it's because it's like same as Shin Megami Tensei IF, you know, you're gonna draw in crowds. Essentially, we're getting 3 times the amount of content. We're getting 3 Fire Emblem games for the price of 1. That is insane. If you guys don't know, Fire Emblem is not a short game. It is a long game. Pretty much, in terms of like other RPGs, let's say Persona. Persona is an average 60 to 80 hour experience. Fire Emblem is pretty much a 40. I think a solid 40, solid 50 if you're doing all the side quests and stuff like that. Which is a very long JRPG if you really want to get into it. So, knowing that, we're getting 3 times the amount, close to like 90, maybe 100 hours worth of gameplay, with story, as I might add, not just grinding like in Persona 3, with actual story content. That's a very crazy thing to think about, because Awakening, compared to Awakening, which gives me goosebumps, because like, that's a lot of content. So kudos to Intelligent Systems. They seem to be really pouring their heart into this. Jesus. Let's see. Yes, Yamagami explains that the story of White Kingdom and Black Kingdom weren't just written to be completely different from each other. As previously reported, the initial portion of both versions will be the same, and afterwards they'll branch off in different directions. However, the goal isn't simply to split the stories, but to allow the player to decide which side they want as their allies, which will provide the element of if to the players based on the choices they make. So, okay, so maybe it's not, well, it is kind of the same, but even though what I said before is kind of like shaky now because of the initial starts of the game being kind of the same, it's kind of negligible. It's only like, let's say 3-5 hours. That's still, with the bulk of the content being much larger, that's still a long game you're getting. You're getting 3 times the amount of content that normally is, you know, on one cartridge. I'm still hoping that the Western release will get all 3 routes on one cartridge. Please, for the love of God. I mean, I'll be okay with DLC, but like, I'd like having it all in one cart. It just seems to be the right deal, and it justifies them delaying it to 2016 at this point. Because if they're not, then why not just make this version available to us right now? Because then we get to play it, you know. But that's their decision. That's okay. It will actually be elaborated on in another article. I'm covered right here. 4Gamer asks if Yamagami could touch upon this aspect of the game a little more. Okay, so in White Kingdom, you'll be part of the hometown you were born in, while Black Kingdom will have you be part of the country in which you were raised, says Yamagami. While both will have the same characters depending on which side you're allied with, you'll see different sides to them. On one hand, they'll be allies, and the other, they won't be. So they won't be the same stories. Doesn't it sound exciting just thinking about it? Yes, Yamagami, it is very exciting, because you are doing essentially what is a crazy version of Shin Megami Tensei 4, or any Shin Megami Tensei game at this point, because you're choosing paths and you get stories unique to that one. Pretty cool. I like where you're going with this, Higuchi. Both factions have their own attractive characters. Alright, okay, yeah. If anyone's watched that trailer, nor is, you know, pick your, well, at this point you have to pick your Emoto-chan at this point. So that will be one of the charms to consider while making your choice. So, damn it, Higuchi. You're making me choose which emoto I want. You're making me choose between being called Oni-chan and Nissan. You are evil. God damn it. Whatever. Let's go. Let's do this. Between White Kingdom and Black Kingdom, and the third full storyline that will be available via DLC, 4Gamer says that the development on Fire Emblem IF must be like working on 3 whole games. Yeah, that's the truth. Yes, it has been rather hectic. Yamagami replies with a laugh. So he's pretty much just laughing at the fact that it's crazy. I don't blame the guy. Making games is very difficult, especially with a game like this that pretty much was. If you guys don't know, Awakening was really close to being dead. Like it was it was meant to be the last hurrah for the Fire Emblem series, but you know, selling 1 million copies, yeah, when you were projected to only sell like 50k. Yeah, I mean, you must be gotten a lot of like support from Nintendo now, which is amazing, which is good for us. Good for us, the consumers, good for us, for the fans. It's because after Awakening release, we had a period of free time, so we decided on making something with the volume of free games. Holy shit, so when Awakening released, they were already working on theorizing this concept. Theorizing, not just not making it. It could have been something that would like that, because at the time, it could have been something. It was before the release of Awakening. It could have been, if it's something after, like they said, it's probably something that they were playing on another game, and like not a Fire Emblem game. Maybe something that's a unique, like a new IP from them. But since the West just went crazy over it, I guess they kind of folded back into Fire Emblem. Yeah, it's understandable. Let's see. Now, you might recall that the digital version of the game was theorized to offer certain advantages over the physical release, in that you would be able to play up to Chapter 5 of the game before having to commit to the White Kingdom or Black Kingdom routes without purchasing either one specifically. 4Gamer asks if this is indeed the case. Pretty much Yagami says, yes, that's correct. Having this different selling method for the retail and digital versions is going to be a first-time experiment for the series. This is going to be a first-time experiment for any game, really. I can't remember any games that have done this in a long time. Like, this is pretty unique to think about. Like, it's essentially the same sort of deal as demos for now. Not demos for the 3DS, but especially for Vita. I remember a game called Conception 2. So Conception 2, was it Children of the Seven Stars or something? It's a really weird game. It's really good at the same time. It's so strange. It's tried to be Persona, but it's not Persona. It did make me laugh a lot, especially with a certain version of the class mating system. If you guys have played it, you know what I mean. But essentially, getting back on track. The demo for that game was really well done, because the demo allowed you to play the entire first chapter of the game, and then if you liked the game, you just buy it and it transfers all of your progress over, so you don't have to restart from scratch. I kind of miss games that do that now. I honestly, it's the same with me with what's that game? Tokiden. Tokiden did the same thing, and I don't know if Soul Sacrifice did the same thing, but the high-profile demos do that on Vita, especially. And you just transfer your game once you purchase it digitally or physically. Your save file just goes over. I kind of feel like this is sort of the same thing, but essentially you've bought the whole game, but you're getting a teaser. Essentially, the first 6 chapters of the game are kind of like a teaser for what you could possibly get in the following routes. So that's pretty cool in a way. Like I think it's a really unique way of selling a game. It solves the Pokemon problem, because I'm never gonna buy both versions of Pokemon ever. That is my phone. Never mind, ignore that. I'm never gonna buy 2 versions of Pokemon. I'm not gonna buy X and Y. I'm not gonna buy Omega. Jesus Christ, phone, please. Trying to be professional and it just doesn't work. But hopefully it's quiet now. Essentially, I'm not going to buy both versions of Pokemon, because even though they're both unique, they have unique aspects to them. I'm not going to replay the game again by buying it again. At least with this, I get a good sample of it, and then I commit to one. And if I really love it, I'll buy the other one, because at a cheaper price. That's a cool, unique way of doing DLC, because essentially, it's you're paying for content that's amenable to one game. It's kind of like, you can't really say, oh, I'm only buying half the game. No, you can be content with one path is what they're getting at. And I can actually understand if people only want to play one path, because the idea of the Nor campaign being harder might off-put a few people. So the people who only liked Awakening for the easy story will play the Hoshido. That's perfectly fine, and you know, and maybe they'll dip their toes in the third path and stay away from the Nor path. This is kind of a really cool, flexible system, which is nice. You know, it's a nice change of pace. It's a nice when companies use DLC in a unique way that's not just jamming you full of like, hey, you want this sword? Here's $2. Here's like, you know, stuff like that. Just kind of ruins the experience. That's why some Nipponichi games kind of annoy me when they ask for like money for in-game currency. Come on, just balance your game so that you get it in-game and you don't feel gross playing it like that. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. So yes, I think I was here. Okay, so yes, that's correct. Having this different selling method of retail and digital versions is going to be the first time experiment with users. To be more precise, once you choose a route, you'll need to perform another download for the digital version to access the route you chose. Of course, this will be after you've already made your purchase, so you won't have to pay for choosing your route again. Huh, wait a minute. Does this mean that the first 6 chapters are free? Or does it mean you have to pay like a bond? No, I think you have to pay up front. I don't think it's the same situation like a demo. It seems kind of ridiculous to have 6 chapters as a demo. So I definitely see it just being a sort of like you pay for it once, and once you get to the decision point, it'll take you to a buy screen, and you have to choose which one. That's pretty intense if you think about it. Imagine this. This is just a thing I just thought about right now. Imagine if you're playing the game, and this actually kind of makes DLC kind of weirdly awesome at the same time. But it does kind of seem stupid. But like you're playing it, and it gets to this really tense scene in the game where you have to pick between Hoshido and to pick between Nor, and you got like the Emotos screaming at you, Oni-chan, Nissan, and then it's like you get marks, and you see Roma just say, "Come with me," no, come with me. The eShop just opens, and it's just like two things where it's just like Nor, Hoshido. Buy now. Which one? I think that's kind of stupid, but then again, it's kind of weirdly awesome at the same time. I don't know. Maybe because I like stupid shit, so maybe that's kind of me. But I think it's pretty dumb. Let's see. Yes. Okay, no, I've already said that. Jesus. Once you have chose other route in the game, you'll get to purchase the other route via DLC. The same goes for physical copies for the game as well. Okay, full game asks if you can play with the same save data used to get past the 5th chapter to play the other route. Yes, it will be possible, says Yamagami. There will also be a save data in your free disc that says you've played up to the 5th chapter, so if you were to buy both routes, then you wouldn't be required to play the game from the very beginning again. Of course, we wouldn't mind if you chose to do so anyway. That's nice. That's very nice. That's actually really cool. That stops, like, a lot of problems I have with some games like this is like, if I want to start a new character, it kind of gets monotonous after playing for a while. So having the ability to say, okay, no, I just want to get straight into the new shit straight away, it's a godsend. It's very nice of them. 2016 for the West. That's what we knew. So, that's the first article. We'll go on one more. Well, 2 more, actually. Fire Emblem IF developer explains why the game is split into 2 versions. That's okay, so I hope it's elaborating on what we just heard. Key developers from Nintendo Intelligent Systems recently spoke with 4Gamer on their reason for splitting Fire Emblem IF into 2 separate White Kingdom and Black Kingdom versions. Regarding the subject, 4Gamer mentions that it seems as though depending on which side you choose, you'll have a different impression of the characters that appear in the game. Wait, is this the same? I believe no. I believe so. Okay, no, it's not. It's a little bit different. I believe so. However, you'll be plenty satisfied even by just playing one of the routes, so please play whichever one piques your interest, says Nintendo producer Hitoshi Yamagami. After that, if you get curious about what happens on the other route, give that a try. Once you learn about one route, the other one will become more profound. That's cool. So they're suggesting that you can play just one, but if you play both, you'll get a profound understanding, which means I'm sure there's twists and turns, like sort of like a, it's sort of like the same notion of like a remix. You're kind of experiencing something new that could be like you're experiencing new events from different perspectives. That's what makes that's actually a medium that games really excel at, because it's so easy to do because you can choose freely and stuff like that. So next, 4Gamer says that when they first heard about the announcement, it seemed like the idea of being able to split the game into 2 packages came to due to how easy it has become to add content through DLC. Yes, that's exactly it, responds Yamagami. If we were to put the content on both sides into one, we'd have no choice but to set the price value of 2 games, and that wouldn't be fair to players that are just going to play one route. So this is interesting. So intelligent systems, like if you were to figure this out from straight up from an outside view, you'd think this is like a load of shit. You'd think, that, oh my god, they're splitting the games, they just want double the money at this point, right? No, actually, I kind of agree with their decision. It's unique. It's definitely not being done by anyone else, but it definitely is a sort of like crazy situation where, if you think of it this way, if you were playing Awakening and you were only playing for the casual mode, which is casual mode, and there's 2 modes essentially, casual mode and classic mode. Now imagine the players that only played casual mode. Essentially, they've played only half the game. Like if you really think of it, like if you think of it that way, they've only experienced half the game. Because if you play it on classic, and the people who only played it on classic, technically have only played half the game. So, thinking by that logic, as stupid as it sounds, it kind of makes sense. Like if you were to really take literally 100%ing a game, you would play both casual and classic mode in every mode, which would take an insane amount of time, but it is the literal sense of if you were to complete it. Now, in this case, they've got 2 routes. They've got the amount of 2 games. I can see the people who would only play it on casual mode, like in this case, like in this parallel sort of like example, people who only play casual mode in Awakening would most likely be drawn to Hoshido, and they'd like, you might say, why didn't they just charge it the price of 1 game? Well, they put in a lot of effort into it. I feel like they deserve to charge it by value. They clearly Nintendo are supporting this game, so they're pumping a lot of money into it. And if they understand that even selling it at the normal price isn't going to get their revenue back, that must give this game a lot more credibility in a way. It's like, if you look at the cutscenes, those cutscenes are not cheap. They require a lot of a lot of investment. So they are judging it as free games essentially, which is technically true. Each route is roughly to have the same amount of content as Awakening. Awakening is still to this day $60, I don't see them charging a 3DS game $100. It just seems insane, like especially for they don't want to scare off the consumer. They don't want people to look at this game like, oh my god, this game's $100. Oh fuck that, just straight up. That's how people are. Like especially in Australia, I see a game that's $60, I'm immediately turned off. I don't get the hype boner anymore. I just kind of just like, oh, that's too expensive, and it sucks living in Australia when you're a gamer, but it's the way of life. So essentially, I agree with the decision. They've made it, tried to make it as this business model is completely unique. I've never seen it before, so good on them. Don't really have much else to say about this actually. Let's see. 4Gamer responds by saying that there are likely a lot of people out there who would be satisfied with just playing one route. However, they're expecting it to be more of another route kind of deal, and didn't expect each route would have as much content as a single standalone game. It is Fire Emblem after all, says Yamagami with a laugh. Each route is properly made with its own scenes and movies as well. Okay, if you're wondering how much content the routes Fire Emblem has forwarded, same amount of content as Fire Emblem Awakening. That said, with the increased cost of development in mind, it makes sense that Intelligent Systems and Nintendo chose to split the game into 2 versions instead of making charge a higher price for the entire package as a whole. So yeah, I agree. Oh god, I am losing my breath, but we are reaching the tail end. Thank God. I'm happy that you guys are sticking with me so far. And yeah, so this is the last one. It just got released probably just like an hour before I started making this video. Fire Emblem IF edition, new Nintendo 3DS faceplate coming to Japan. God damn it, I can't get it. I really wanted it. Fire Emblem IF will release in just a couple months in Japan. The Game Watch shows a first look at the Nintendo 3DS plate. Dude, that looks really cool. That actually looks really cool. The new Nintendo 3DS faceplate IF edition includes the new 3DS console, together with a Fire Emblem IF faceplate seen above and a 16 gig micro SD. It won't include the game and will go for 18,500 yen when the game releases in Japan in June 25th. It will be available separately for 2,500. Okay, that's pretty neat. I like it. It's cool. It looks really cool. I wish we could have it, but we can't. No Aqua, no dancing lady in here. That's weird. That's okay. Anyway, that's enough Fire Emblem news. I think I've pretty much talked my throat out with this. What are my thoughts on it? I'm excited. Oh my god, I am so hyped for this game. I really just, I cannot believe we're getting 3 games. And I just hope, Nintendo, for the love of God, please, I'm begging you, make this a complete package for the West. You know, at this point, I guess, you know, I would be happy if it was split. But if we're getting a complete version, you are going to get so much people buying this game, essentially. Or just have like Fire Emblem IF and sell it for cheap. Oh, that's weird. No, that's crazy talk. If Nintendo decided in the West it's going to sell it for a $30 for the first 6 chapters, and then you have to pay DLC for it. No, that looks bad. Don't do that, Nintendo. For the love of God, don't do that. That looks really bad from a business standpoint. It just seems like you have, like, people are gonna be like, what the fuck, this game only got 6 chapters, what the hell? And then you alienate people who don't have access to the eShop. There's a few people who would. So don't do that. Just think of a way that kind of satisfies it. This could work in the West, but it might not. I guess you know, considering that amiibos are going crazy right now, I can't even get a Lucina amiibo, for God's sake. Jesus. Anyway, also I wanted to, if you guys are stuck around, I am well aware of the translations that a fellow YouTuber called Shadow of Chaos has made. I'll have a link to his channel below. Of the translations of all the text, even just today, the music of the lyrics to the song that Aqua sings in the trailer has also been translated as well. I will sit down and analyze those and make a follow-up Fire Emblem IF analysis video for you guys. And yeah, I look forward to it. I'm working on it, and you know, hopefully there's a lot more details from the text themselves. Especially with the conversations, maybe we can pick out a lot of things from that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Koi51 out, like, comment, and subscribe. Have a nice day.